Hello there, it's me, Sari, here again, and today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about products from Nellie Snellen, which is a Dutch company that has both stamps, tools and various things for stamping, dies and die cutting machines and all sorts of things. And I thought I'd just show you some of the things that Nellie Snellen carry in their web shop, as well as some of their wholesaler shops, let's say like that. So I've got a sort of a Stamping Buddy Pro, and as you can see it's sort of a stamping book, as I want to call it, because I'm opening it up and I'm going to close it and I'm just going to do some stamping, and I'm hoping I'll be able to succeed with this one. I've also got a heat resistant mat, which is 33 times 555 centimeters wide, and this is a good thing to have on your desktop when you are doing some inking. And let's say you know what, this is a little bit longer than I'm used to, and it's a bit sturdy material, so far I do like this quite a lot. And Nellie Snellen also carries various ink pads. I've got some VersaFine, VersaMark and StazOn here. StazOn is really useful when you are going to stamp on plastic, all sorts of materials except for, let's say, fabric. And it's a pretty quick drying ink, and if you're going to do some stamping on plastic, well, it's really nice to have a stamping tool or something that you're not going to slip away if you're going to stamp on, let's say, vellum or shrink plastic and such. VersaMark is a really useful ink pad when it comes to using embossing powders, and I've got 5 different jars of embossing powders here from Nellie Snellen. So they have some ebony black, gold metallic, clear gloss, opaque bright white and silver metallic. That's what I got there. And when it comes to these small dewdrop looking ink pads, I've got some inks from both Memento, which is a dye-based ink. It's going to be permanent while it's dry. When it's dry, it is water-based, but it's going to be fade-resistant when it's dry, and it's going to be fast drying on most paper surfaces. And I've got quite a few colors there. And then I've got a Brilliance ink pad, which I believe is a pigment ink. Yes, it's a pigment ink, which is going to be really coloring your paper up, let's say. And then I've got something from Versa Magic, and this is a chalk ink, and it's a really nice thing to actually have chalk inks to vary your things with. So I've got one of each 3 here opened up, so let's see if I can go there. I'm also going to show you the heat tool. I've just plugged it in, so I'm going to try it out with you today. I haven't used these things yet. And let's see, I've also got some ink blending tools. Let's see, I'm going to show you the packages, because there are 2 sizes. Ink applicators from Nellie Snellen with 2 pads. So we've got the really small one, which is really nice, I'm thinking, when it comes to using this one, smaller projects. And then the other ones that are sort of the regular size, round shapes. And of course there are some foam refills in different packages there as well. And when I'm talking about stamping, of course you could do your stamping with, let's see, either acrylic blocks, which is something that I like to use because these have got those waved edges, and I do like that because I'm getting a really nice grip on the block. And then you could do some stamping with mixed media plates also. Let's see if I can get there without getting lost before I get there. So there are quite a few, I might as well just show you. There are quite a few different shapes, and you could do a stamping on these. You could even use stenciling techniques on this, and you could also use this one, I believe, as a surface for mirror image stamping. So here's a hexagon. It's a mixed media plate. It's a square, 8 by 8 centimeters. It's an oval plate there, and there's a rectangular plate, 7 by 10. There's a circular one, 9 centimeters in diameter, and a heart that's going to be 8 by 8 centimeters across, like so. But they've also got some big mama lovely things here. Let's see if I can get these out here. Here is the regular one, which I've got since before. It's the mixed media plate. It's the large one, I'm thinking. But look at this big mama. It's twice the size. So it's a really nice one. So it's 20 by 29.8 centimeters. It's a really nice one. So you can do lots of fun techniques on these. And then I've found these beautiful alphabet stamps, clear stamps, and just look at these. And I'm thinking you could do some really nice writing with these. And then there are some nice looking background stamps with the mixed media theme. There are some stars and dots, stripes, and there's a woven thing. And then there is a basket thing, stripes this one is called. And I was talking to you about the stencil techniques before. Here are quite a few to show you. And you could see you could have lots of fun with these. So let's see where I'll end up with this video. What else do they have? They have these masking pads with a sticky back to it. So if you're going to die cut something, you could just use this one and cut out the shape and just place it on, and so you can do some masking on it. Or you could just do a bit of stamping on it. Cut out the image and then do some masking while continuing stamping. And here we have the stamping buddy. It comes really well packaged like this. So, and it's a pretty good price point for this, I must say. It's a really nice one. And look at this. I like the fact that you open it upwards like this, and I like having the rulers like this, and I like it not having edges around here, and I like it having a flap. You can see that it's going outside of the edge there, so it's going to be easy for me to just flip it up. And there is going to be a bit in the center there, which is going to keep the flap or the lid put down correctly, like so. So that's a little bit about that, and let me just show you some of the stamps that I've got here as well. I have collected these stamps from Nellie Snellen for quite some time, and this rabbit here is one of my favorites. I've masked him or her with other stamps, and I really like the outcome of that one. And then there are some men things stamps, sailing boat, an airplane, an old timer and such, really lovely looking. And then there are some nice grass and plant themed things, as well as these beautiful birds on a branch and such. Look at these beautiful images. And I've just stamped these on just some printing paper, and it works really well, really nice imprints. Look at these two. These are new for spring 2018. Just look at that beautiful one. Tree with fence and that lovely owl. Woohoo! And look at that one. Tree with bench. Really nicely detailed ones. And then I actually have two more of these birds on a branch thingies. Bird song 1 and bird song 2. And here's a bird's nest. So here are the that I have since before. But I do have some new ones to show you. Just look at these. I mean, you could do some masking with these, I'm sure. Just stamp it once, cut it, stamp it on a spare piece of paper, cut it out, put it on top, perhaps with some removable adhesive, and stamp something else around it. So I think I'll just try to do that when I'm not on camera, because I'll be stressed out, I'm sure, for that. And then there is a set of text stamps in one set. English texts, it's called. And you've got the with sympathy, regards, it's your birthday, and so forth on this. And it's a really nice font, I must say. So it's a really easy to read kind of looking font. So let's go for some texture stamps then. Let's start with these. So here's something that I like. I do like this sort of thing. Raindrops, it's called. And here you can see the whole complete series when these were released. So I've got all of the 4 ones here, or the 4 here. So there are some writing. You see, I love that one, and it says vintage stamps. This one says bursts. And then we've got the splatters, and I love this one. I like these sort of solid looking stamps, and raindrops, as I told you before. And then I'm going to move ahead to some animal stamps, and look at that cute little kitten. And there's a llama and the rabbit. I love him. Really nice looking. And then there's another kitten which is sleeping. So I actually did do some masking of this one and another stamp. If I'm not incorrect, if I don't remember incorrectly, I think I had some mushroom stamps or something. And the horse's head. Just look at the detail. And a beautiful little puppy. Really cute one as well. And then we come to the men things. And I've shown you these before. And these are going to stamp beautifully. And then there are some other stamps, silhouette stamps, which are going to be really nice if you're going to do some, let's say, scene stamping with fairies and such. So look at these mushrooms and all these sorts of lovely things. So it's a set of 5 stamps, and I don't believe I have the mushrooms, or do I? No, I haven't got them, but still. So here are some flowers, 17 and 18. So these are some flower centers, or you could do some background pieces of paper with these. Lots of fun. And then I've got some branch stamps here, which this one is grass, and this one is flower 16, and this one is flower 15. And here we have those beautiful ones since I had before. These are just to die for. And here are 2 more. Just look at that beautiful pond on the lake. And then there is this beautiful road into the meadows and such. So let's see if I can do something sensible with this video. I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with this, but I just wanted to give it a go. So I have this craft sheet here, and just for safety's sake, you know what? The magnets are at the bottom. So one thing you need to think about is, as Tim Holtz once described, that these are like fighters, boxers, fighters, and they should never meet. So put them one in each corner, so they are not going to mix or just start fighting, really. Because if they are fighting, they might end up broken. So that's basically it. So let's see. I'm going to need some paper. And I just happen to have a piece of paper here, and I'm just going to go for something else. And the good thing about having a ruler like this is that you're going to see that the paper is 14 by 14 centimeters. It's approximately 5.5 inches actually. So let's see, if I'm going to take this stamp, it's a beautiful bench stamp like that. And what I like to do is just cut it up like this, because then it's easy for me to just take the stamp out, keep the package as it is. I'm going to put the backing paper there, or the plastic, and I'm going to peel it off. And you see, it's not going to be that difficult to actually take it off from the backing sheets. And in this case, I'm just going to place it like so, thinking that it's going to be all right. I could, of course, go a little bit further. If I'm going to use 2 magnets, I'm making sure that the paper is going to stay in its place better. So if I'm going to put this one, I'm sort of placing it here because I want to sort of give the illusion of it having a frame to it. So I might actually go inside a little bit. And then I would have some room left for a sentiment, or perhaps even some birds or something flying up there later on. So I'm going to place the stamp there, and I mustn't hesitate too much because it's going to be lifted up. So there we have it. Let's see if I have anything here underneath. So let's give it a go. So now I'm opening my book, and I'm going to turn it over like this, and I'm going to take some VersaFine Onyx black ink just to see what it's going to be like with the first stamping. And I'm making sure that I'm not going to over clutter the image with ink. There it went. And I'm just going to close the lid on this one. I'm going to turn it over just so you can see. I'm going to push it just to see what it looks. Oh my goodness, look at that. And I forgot to tell you, actually, I'm going to put this one in its corner and this one in its corner, or I'm not. I'm going to put it over there because I do have a foam of a piece of foam here, which is going to give me the right amount of height when I'm going to use a clear stamp versus a rubber stamp. Because if I'm going to use a rubber stamp, I need to take away the foam. But in this case, I'm really pleased with the outcome, and I didn't even push the image really firmly. So I just gave it a little light touch like this. So the Stamping Buddy Pro really works fine. And now that I did my second grade of stamping, I got an even sharper look, as you can see. So that's where we are right now. I would really like to have something to stamp off the excess ink, so I can put it over. So you can see this is a really nice way of actually cleaning up. You can see there's a lot of ink left there from the VersaFine, so you can do some second and even third generation stamping with those ink pads. So now I think it's clean enough for my kind of usage. And I'm just going to put it back there in between those plastic sheets, just to protect it as long as I can. And I'm going to put it back in there. So now you see that the Stamping Buddy Pro works like a charm. Let's see if I were to do something with some ink. Since I have used, you see, it's a pretty wet ink, so perhaps I need to dry it up a little. So I'm just going to start this one up. And it has got this ledger or foot, so you can actually stand on its own there. So what I wanted to tell you, that if you are going to use with a VersaFine ink, which is a pigmented ink, it's going to have a longer drying time versus, let's say, a Memento or perhaps another dye-based ink. These are going to dry quicker. And if you're going to do some coloring on top of this one with just some plain ink, let's see if I can end up somewhere with this. I'm just going to take one of these, and what I've done with these is that I've actually reinforced them. I asked my husband to staple that one in there so it wouldn't get loose, and I'm just going to put the foam on top there. And let's see, I've got some ink here, and I'm just going to dab it like this just to see where I'll end up. And I think it might be a good idea to just get the excess off so I don't overclutter this. And I'm just going to use the edge of this one just to have something here, just to see how it's going to work. And if you want to, you could of course clean it up like this, or you could just have this one for this color type and so forth. I haven't got anything for green colors now, have I? So I could go on with some pink or red when it comes to these different kinds of inks. The one thing is that if you are going to use something that is not going to cross-contaminate, or just, I'm not sure I'll find the right word for this, but I don't want the pigmenting ink to blend up with, let's say, brilliance, because those are two pigmented inks. I'm not sure how they're going to work together. So you always need to find something that is going to be the complete opposite when you're going to do some coloring. But let's say I'm not going to go with this one for more, and I'm just going to take a piece of paper here just to see how well I can do some blending. Where did it go? So I do have some residue ink here. I'm just going to start off the page, and just to see how well I can ink up this. And there isn't anything left now, is there, because I cleaned it off. So I could just do it once more just to see where I'm at, and I'm going to start off the page and just work it in really nicely like this. And what I like about this small size is that you can really work with some small projects like this. So you can see that it's strong at first, and then it's going to be softer after a while. Let's see if I could go with some pink, and I'm going to go for the Brilliance ink just to see how well that one transfers or shifts from the foam to paper. Let's see, I'm going to start off here. Oh, this is a strong color. Look at this. And the thing is that it gets stuck to the paper pretty quickly, although it feels like I'm able to make it work and stretch it sort of. So there we have that one. So a little goes a long way. And I'm going to go for a third one, and I'm going to go for some Versa Magic, which is a chalk ink, wasn't it? It's a chalk ink. So let's see how that one works. They say that chalk inks have the shortest drying time, perhaps apart from StazOn. And as you can see, I don't get that much ink from it either. So there's a difference there. So I need more ink in order to get the same kind of result. And I'm not sure if you're even supposed to do this inking with Versa Magic inks, but there you have it still. And I do like this one because that color really stretches far. So I think that the Brilliance ink is better if you're going to do this kind of coloring in. Let's see if I could do some embossed stamping. And why not do something in white, just to see how it's going to look. So I'm going to go back with the Embossing Buddy Pro, or the Stamping Buddy Pro. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to need a piece of paper. And you know what? I haven't really... Let's see, I'm just going to put it there. One in one corner and one there. And I'm going to do some embossing, and I'm just sort of trying to figure out if it's straight or not, and I'm going to lift it up. And now I need to be prepared. I do need something to pour the embossing powder in. And I do have a tray like this, so I'm thinking that that might work. And I was thinking that if I were to do the embossing with some white, just to see how well that transfers, or how well I can make it work on these fine details, just to see how the white embossing powder works really. I thought that I could go for this. So first things first, I'm just going to open it up a little. And I'm going to go for some Versamark, which is a clear ink pad. And mind you, this is a fairly new ink pad. In the end they are black as the night, but they still work. They have sort of a gluey effect, so they're going to make the powder stick to the stamped image. So now I have inked it up there, and I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to lift it up. The drawback, of course, for you not being able to see what I've done here, but I can see that the image is fairly well stamped. So I'm going to put this one there, so I can close the lid on that one. And I'm going to pour this powder on top of the paper. And perhaps now you can see that there is something there. It looks rather nice, I must say. And the good thing about having a funnel like this, of course, is that you are able to actually get it back in its jar. You could, of course, go for a folded piece of paper or something, but since I had this, I just thought I'd take it out for a walk. So let's do some heating. And it might be a good idea to let the heat tool heat up before you do some heating up. And I like to actually keep the paper up in the air, so I don't have to sort of distort any kind of plastic surface underneath or so. So here we go. The magic is about to happen. I'm not sure if you can see it, if I tilt it a little. So now that one is done. I'm not sure if you can see it because white on white isn't really that easy. Now you can see it, I suppose. And I'm just going to shake it a little bit just to cool it off, because I don't want the ink or the foam pad to just get stuck to the heated plastic, because embossing powders are made of really finely grounded plastic. So let's see. I mean, this is not going to be a proper color. So I'm just going to go for some brilliancy, because I know that that one is going to stretch really far. So this is where the magic is going to happen. I'm just going to take some ink here, and I'm going to start off outside of the page, and I'm just going to work in a circular motion. And just look at that. Look at that. And I'm just going to keep it in my hand so I have a really nice control over where I'm working with this. And I must say that I like how well the ink spreads and how easy it is to work it, even when I have a pretty strong blotchy thing there. It's really easy to get it to work. And since I do feel like I could have a little bit stronger colors at the ends or on the edges, I could always start from there and make sure that I'm getting a lighter shade of ink in the center. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And of course, having a sort of a moist hand or something is going to give this fingerprints. So I might just learn from others' mistakes and just put a piece of paper so I can hold it in place. So here we are, and now you can see the image a bit better. Let's say I were to work in some other inks as well. I'm going to continue with the brilliance line. So let's say I could go for something purple. I'm just going to take another, just to see how it would look. I'm going to keep the paper here as well, and I'm just going to start from here, sort of, just to see what it could look like. And I just want to tell you that any kind of wet ink pad ought to work with this technique. So let's say you have various colors of VersaFine ink. I mean, that is a wet ink. You ought to be able to make it work. And distress inks, of course, they have a long drying time, so you can go with them. And those are dye-based inks. The Mentor inks, unfortunately, dry a bit quicker, and it's not that easy to blend those, I must say. It might work, but you have to be really quick on your hand. I'm just going to put some purple around the edge here, just so you can see sort of a two-shaded effect. And of course, if you would do this embossing technique with some black powder, it would work just fine. But I just wanted to give the white embossing powder a go, just to see where I'll end up. So here we are with just a short, quick tutorial of how to do some embossing and ink blending. So when it comes to products from Nellie Snellen, I must say that they have quite a few things. You know what? I just came to think about something. I do like to combine or incorporate stencils in my work. So I think I'll just take a pattern that I like, which is the pattern number 6. And in my world, it's honeycomb. I'm just going to open it up like this. And open it up, and now I'm going to go for a brush. I have a brush like this. There are some proper stencil brushes that are going to have a pretty hefty price point, but this is something that I've got since before, and I'll just try to work tone on tone, and since I do have these lines, I'm going to line it up best I can there. And I'm just going to try to keep the stencil in its place, and I'm just going to work it in haphazardly, really. Just a little bit here and a little bit there, and lift it up, and just look at that. It's a really nice technique using stencils for this, I must say. So I'm going to give it a go on the other corner, or in the other corner as well. And I'm going to go for the same technique using the lines there. And I'm just going to work it in. And the more irregular, the better in my book. Just look at that. Lovely, lovely. And of course I can continue working with the stencils. Let's see if I could do something with stencils and those mixed media things. So this is a roller handle. As you can see, it's a really solid one. It's going to work like that, and then you can turn it over, so you don't have to contaminate your working surface too much. So let's see. I'm going to go for. You know what? I think I'll just go for this one. And as I usually do, I want to cut it up here. And I know that this is a Nellie Snellen thingy, so I have to just cut the name or the brand there. And it has got 2 pieces of plastic, and I'm thinking that I might actually keep one of them in its place. And this is a bit more hard work, and the plastic is going to get a little bit warped, but I'm thinking you might be able to put it back. The drawback, of course, here now is that it's not going to stay in its place. So I might put a little bit of tape underneath just to keep it in place. It doesn't have to be more than that. Just so I can make sure that it's sort of staying in its place. So let's see. What I learned from Nellie when she came to Halmstad a couple of years ago, and I accidentally happened to be there, was that she showed me how to work with these beautiful inks and those tools, and how she really managed to make a soft and nice texture there. So let's see, I just think I'd go for the yellow one, I'm sorry. And I'm going to do just some inking, pick up some ink with this one. And I mustn't forget about using a stencil here as well. Now I know that I haven't cleaned it up, so I'm just going to try to work in the center here. And just do my best coloring this one in. And as you can see, I'm getting a really nice texture here, so I might as well just make sure that I'm getting this, and I'm going to use this one to pick it up, and at the same time I can actually clean this one up, sort of. I didn't succeed as I wanted to. Let's see. This wasn't what I was aiming at, actually, so I must have forgotten what she taught me. Because I know she did actually take away some of the ink before she pressed it onto the paper. But now I actually managed to transfer those. How on earth did she go about it? Well, let's see. At least I can see where I've been with this one. I'm going to go for the same stripy thing there. Put it there, and it's going to stay really well on that surface. Perhaps she did like this. Now I remember. She actually used it. That's how she did it. And then she went in and worked the ink. I'm not sure if we use this brayering tool, but I think I'll just try to make it work anyway. And I'm just going to place it along the line like so. Clean this one up and press it there. Now it's shifted, and I can't see, can barely see anything. What happened Now I'm getting those inky bits. So now you see I'm just starting to lose it here because I don't really know what I'm doing. But now at least I'm sort of getting the transfer there. But this wasn't it, because Nellie really taught me a nice technique with these. I have to re-look at my video that I made. And I'm going to stop here really, because I'm just going to make my fool of myself. So anyway, please look up the products from Nellie Snellen in various shops, and I think that even Nellie Snellen's webpage could do you some good. I'm going to sign off right now and hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.